tails for Rice Krispie treats, but really quickly, and I'm going to show you the cupcakes tomorrow. Check that color out, would you? It's so pretty. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, but right now we're talking about mermaid tails, so we'll get back to that. Okay, we'll get back to this. Okay, so we got a lot going on. I'll have a different punch done. Blah, 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 blah. Sorry. A bunch of different videos going. So let's talk about the silicone molds and doing the mermaid tails and what we're up to. First of all, I'm ready to pull these out, but let's talk about the consistency first of the chocolate that you're going to need, because I noticed a couple of different things. So here's the green, and originally when I had this dark green that I had bought from Hobby Lobby, and it was really, really forest green. So I lightened it up with some white, but the texture was a little off. And on the back of the candy melts, it does say you can put shortening in your candy melts to help the texture. So I ended up having to do that with the white, and I still may have to do it some more because this is not creamy like the green is. So honestly, I need to add a little bit more shortening to this. But this is going to be for the seashells that I've got going on, and I kind of made a double boiler for this one because I don't have additional double boilers, so I've only got the one. Now, the seashells that I'm going to do come out. This is a pink one. Isn't that cute? And we're going to do these for the Rice Krispie treats. I haven't trimmed this one up yet because I have a little spot over here where we can pull off. In fact, it just lightly comes off. So, but you can trim this up. You could use a knife, but honestly, it's so thin that it'll just come off with your fingers. So let's talk about releasing off this. Now, I have a little mold over here, and I'll show it to you guys before we end this video, that is not very forgiving when you go to release. But these great big molds are really forgiving. Before you're ready to release, go along your edges and just pull. And if you have a bunch of chocolate on the side, it'll be okay. It'll come out. Okay, I backed that up a little bit for you because I was a little close. And then it just falls out really, really easy. Now, this one is really forgiving as well. I've got a mold over here that made the little tails, and I'll show you the size compared to this one. And if I had gotten a lot of chocolate around the edges, it was a bear, wasn't it, Ed? We were breaking some of the tails on the little tiny mold. At the end, I averaged only 2 broken of the tiny ones out of all of them, so not too bad. And there's the little one. And these are going to be for Rice Krispie treats. So these are the mermaid tails. I got to make 3 more of these for Jesse's birthday tomorrow. And like I said, these are pretty forgiving. If you have chocolate on the edges on this one, I would not worry. But on some of the smaller molds, you're going to notice that, and I'm making a mess just trying to show you guys. It's kind of messy though sometimes, hey. I made the fondant the other night, and those turned out really well, and I'm really happy with them. But it's taken longer to get the chocolate. What I'm doing is I'm putting these in the fridge, and after about 15 minutes in the fridge, you can take them out of the mold. Tap it lightly, because like if you notice, I'm not in this corner, and so if you tap this, move it around and just tap it if you find you're not in the corner, and give it a little bit of a squeeze, you'll be fine. And I overflowed just a bit on this one side, so you could just kind of take it and swish it and you'll be fine. But I'm actually not going to worry about cleaning that up, just because we found that this mold is really, really forgiving and easy peasy to get things out. Okay, I also have these little teeny mermaid tails that I'm making. That mold are these tails. Compared to that medium-sized one, there's the small ones, and that's the big one. We just put this one back in the fridge. You just watched me fill that one back up. So these are the sizes that we've done. This mold, this blue mold here, is not really forgiving. So when you start filling, and I'll just fill one up even though I'm not going to use it. On this mold, if you get hardly anywhere but on the mold, you run the risk of your candy breaking before you ever get it out. Ed will tell you, my daughter originally was like, you could make a bunch of those little ones and we'll just put them in a candy dish. But let me tell you, and I did that really good, by the way. And then, of course, you just kind of jiggle to get it all there. Now, that didn't turn out too bad, but had I messed up and gotten it, here, I'll just do it. Had I messed up and, say, gotten it like that, once I filled it, and then you go to release it out of here after it's done, we were finding that we were breaking our little tiny guys like this one, because it's just not real forgiving around the tail and front and the fin. It was impossible. But you want a creamy texture. This one, I'm going to make some more shells for the Rice Krispie treats. I need to add just a little bit more shortening. Okay, I want to show you what we did. So these are going to be two-tone. We put the dark color, or one color underneath, and then just layered it. And that's going to be a whole different video, but I just wanted to show you guys what we were doing there. Okay, I'll see if I can tip this. This is so much better. It's a lot creamier, a lot smoother. I added just barely a teaspoon's edge, because I don't have but a handful of white in here, because I'm not making a whole lot more white. I just need more shells. So if you need to fix your candy melt, and see, that's more of a butter. Can you guys see that? That is much, much, much better. So if you're trying to figure out, if you're using candy melts and you can't figure out how to fix it, a little bit of shortening will help. So hopefully you have vegetable shortening in there. And what I mean by vegetable shortening is this. So if you're young and you're not used to it, it's the Crisco or store brand, doesn't matter if it's Crisco. But that's a much better. So if you're having trouble with your candy melt texture, don't be afraid to add just a little bit of that. It does tell you on the back of the package, but add a little, you can add more. But if you add too much, you can't take it out. The only way to fix it then is to add more candy melt. So if you're new to making the candy melts and you then there's only one way to fix it if you add too much Crisco. to fix the texture is just to add more candy melt. So be careful adding it. But now this is just a beautiful consistency. The texture is wonderful. You can also save this. I don't need all of this. I'm almost done. I only needed a couple more big tails. And so I'm going to go ahead and put this away, and we're going to start on blue. I'm going to do a separate video. We're going to show you how we're going to put together the Rice Krispie treats with the mermaids, and then later I'll be showing you what we're going to do with the cupcakes. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video. I just wanted to show you how I was doing the mermaid tails, how to fix your cookie melt, your candy melt, excuse me, cookie. I got cookie on the brain, I guess. And it's almost baking season, so I keep thinking about making cookies for next week because it's Thanksgiving next week, so I guess that's why. I just wanted to go over how to fix your candy melts if you have something that's not, you know, the texture's just not right, and it's not smooth, and it's just not coming out right. A little bit of Crisco. And it does tell you on the back of the pack, I think on all of them. I've bought Hobby Lobby and Wilton. The white in here is Wilton. The green was Hobby Lobby, but with white Wilton. So I mixed wafer brands. So, and what I'm talking about are these. Now, I'm not sponsored by any one company. It's just where I happen to be and where I go. But we're switching over to the blue because Jessie's favorite color is blue. So you're going to see a lot of blue because that's what she wants. But I didn't want to do these with blue because I'm going to cover some of the Rice Krispie treats in blue, and I wanted a contrast color. I am going to put some dust on these though, so they're pretty and sparkly and all that fun stuff. If you haven't seen my fondant tails video, you will find out what I'm talking about because I'm going to put glitter dust on. So I'm going to jump off here. If you've never done candy melts, if you're going to go buy a mold, buy a little bit bigger. Don't buy the real thin mold. They're not very forgiving. Easier to break, removing your candy. Also, people will say you could just add the chocolate into your mold and throw it in the microwave, and you can do that, but you can still scorch your chocolate. I know, I've done it. So I like to just use the double boiler. But you can just use a small container, put it in the microwave, 30 seconds, stir, put it back in the microwave, stir, put it back in the microwave, do 20 to 30 seconds depending on the size of the container. I wanted to keep this warm while I waited on everything to set in the fridge, so I prefer to do the double boiler method on the stove. So I'm going to get off here, guys. I've got more videos coming up. Have a wonderful night. Be kind to each other.